The rise and fall of currencies, from the pound to the yuan. Imagine waking up one morning to find that your money has suddenly lost its value. Prices skyrocket, savings shrink, and uncertainty spreads like wildfire. It may sound like a nightmare, but throughout history, this has been a reality for many nations. Currencies rise and fall, shaping the fate of economies, governments, and even empires. Today, we'll explore how currencies gain and lose power, focusing on two of the most fascinating stories in global finance, the British pound and the Chinese yuan. Currencies are more than just pieces of paper or numbers on a screen. They are symbols of trust, stability, and national strength. A strong currency represents confidence in a country's economy, while a weak one often reflects doubt and decline. But what exactly determines whether a currency rises or falls? Let's break it down step by step. The value of a currency is influenced by multiple factors: interest rates, inflation, government policy, and market perception. When a country's economy is strong and growing, its currency tends to strengthen. Higher interest rates attract foreign investors looking for better returns. This increased demand for the currency pushes its value up. On the other hand, high inflation or political instability can weaken a currency. When prices rise too quickly, people lose faith in the currency's ability to hold value. Investors move their money elsewhere, causing the currency to depreciate. It's a constant balancing act, and central banks play a key role in maintaining stability through monetary policy and regulation. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most historically powerful currencies, the British pound. The pound sterling, symbolized by wools, is one of the oldest currencies still in use today. For centuries, it was considered the gold standard of global finance. During the height of the British Empire in the 19th and early 20th centuries, the pound wasn't just money, it was power. Wherever the British flag flew, the pound followed. It dominated world trade, backed by Britain's Industrial Revolution, vast colonies, and naval supremacy. But as history shows, economic dominance never lasts forever. Two world wars devastated Britain's economy. The enormous cost of rebuilding, coupled with the loss of colonies and global influence, marked the beginning of the pound's decline. By the mid-20th century, the United States had emerged as the new economic superpower, and the US dollar replaced the pound as the world's primary reserve currency. The pound's fall from supremacy wasn't sudden. It was gradual. The oil crisis of the 1970s, rising inflation, and constant fluctuations against the dollar tested its strength. Britain had to make difficult economic decisions, including seeking assistance from the International Monetary Fund in 1976, a moment that symbolized just how far the mighty pound had fallen. Still, the British pound remains one of the most traded and trusted currencies in the world. It carries history, credibility, and resilience. But it also serves as a reminder: no currency, no matter how dominant, is immune to economic shifts. Now, let's travel east, to a country that has rapidly changed the balance of global finance, China, and its currency, the yuan, officially known as the renminbi, RMB. Just a few decades ago, China's currency had little international relevance. The country was largely isolated from global markets, and the yuan was tightly controlled. But as China began opening its economy in the late 20th century, things started to change, and fast. Through industrialization, exports, and strategic planning, China transformed itself into the world's factory. Its products reached every corner of the globe, from electronics to textiles to machinery. As trade boomed, global demand for the yuan increased. To maintain control and stability, China managed the yuan's exchange rate carefully. Rather than letting it float freely like the pound or dollar, the Chinese government pegged it within a controlled range, adjusting it based on policy goals. This helped make Chinese exports cheaper and more competitive, fueling economic growth for decades. But China's ambitions go far beyond trade. In recent years, it has pushed for the yuan to become a global reserve currency, one that could rival the US dollar in international influence. The establishment of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the Belt and Road Initiative, and trade agreements denominated in yuan are all part of that strategy. In 2016, the International Monetary Fund officially included the yuan in its basket of reserve currencies, a major step in cementing China's financial influence. Today, countries around the world use the yuan for trade, investment, and reserves. The Chinese currency is now one of the 5 most traded in the world. Let's consider an example. Imagine a country that imports vast amounts of electronics, machinery, and steel, much of it from China. To pay for these goods, that country needs yuan. As trade with China increases, global demand for the yuan rises, strengthening its position in international markets. This shift doesn't just reflect China's growing economy, it signals a rebalancing of global power. For over a century, Western currencies like the pound and the dollar have dominated world finance. But as China's influence expands, the yuan challenges that hierarchy, introducing a multipolar world of currencies. Of course, challenges remain. The yuan isn't yet fully convertible, and capital controls limit how easily it can move across borders. Many countries still prefer the dollar for its stability and global acceptance. But the trend is clear. China is playing the long game. The story of the pound and the yuan is more than a tale of 2 currencies. It's a reflection of economic evolution, how nations rise, thrive, and sometimes decline. The pound symbolizes legacy, tradition, and the weight of history. The yuan represents ambition, modernization, and the future of global trade. So, what causes currencies to rise and fall? It's not just numbers or charts. It's about on trust, growth, and influence. When people believe in a nation's economy, its currency becomes strong. When that belief fades, even the most powerful currency can stumble. In the end, the value of money isn't just determined by markets, it's shaped by people's confidence in the system itself. In summary, currencies rise and fall due to a complex web of factors: interest rates, inflation, political stability, and global demand. The decline of the British pound and the rise of the Chinese yuan illustrate this cycle perfectly. Each represents a different chapter in the ever-changing story of global finance. As investors, understanding these shifts is more than just useful, it's essential. Because when currencies move, they move markets, trade, and entire economies. The financial world never stands still, and neither should you. Stay informed, stay curious, and always keep an eye on the forces shaping the money that shapes our world. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into global finance, economics, and the forces driving our future.